My name is Kwabena Chenche Hinibwati. Many thanks for joining us here on News. Just remember, this bulletin is available on your GoTV channel 144 and your DSTV channel 421. Let's start off with some election-related issues. And former President President Kufour is urging the Electoral Commission to be open and transparent in its dealings, even as it prepares to meet political parties, civil society groups, and other stakeholders today for the second phase of its demonstrations of the electronic transmission process. In an interview with Joy News, former President Kufour said current developments regarding what the EC is doing ahead of the polls in December have made Ghanaians nervous, adding that the Commission needs to be more transparent in its dealings to avert any possible violence in the December elections.
They said they had come for pre-election assessments of our country to see how the organizations they represent might be able to assist us in going through the elections peacefully. It was a worthy cause, and they all seemed to know a bit of Ghana. They kept on referring to Ghana as a symbol of peace and stability and good governance and electoral systems. So but then they acknowledge that there's nothing like a perfect electoral system. So what to do to improve our system so we allay the tensions and fears that seem to be in the country.
And of course, you have seen a number of elections. What is your own pre-assessment going into the December polls?
There's tension in the country because of some experiences the people generally have had since the launch of the Fourth Republic, the electoral experiences. And since I would say the institution of the Electoral Commission is evolving, like our society is also evolving. We should seek to underpin the electoral process and procedures with transparency, impartiality. So outcomes of the competition, because elections are competitive, we seek to ensure fair outcomes. When the outcomes are fair, I have a feeling Ghanaians, we are naturally peaceful people. Everybody would accept. The winner would be acknowledged. The loser would prove to be a sportsman or woman. So violence would not attend the process.
Finally, sir, you are talking about tension being in the country. What sort of tension have you seen, and why do you think people are tensed?
You are a journalist. You should be telling me.
But from your perspective, what you have monitored?
Charged with, we want peace. The Peace Council is talking traditional authorities, political. Everybody is talking peace, peace, peace. If there weren't tension, you think we would talk like that? It's perhaps tension, if you like, another word for it is nervous. People are nervousness. Nervousness is the other word for tension. And it's all because, see, given the perception that the winner takes everything in Ghana, and so we are approaching times when this community or society is called on to decide who will be the winner. Everybody wants it, and naturally, I say wherever there's power, there's tension. People are struggling to see if they can get it. So they would be the managers of all. And this is the source of the tension. But we should be able, with our evolution and maturation, to manage the institutions, especially the Electoral Commission, in such a way as to give transparent, free and fair election that will be respected across the board.
And that was former President John Kufour in an interview there with my colleague Beatrice Edo, in that very exclusive interview, I might add. And he's been speaking particularly on elections and the process leading up to it, and things that for him suggest that, well, the EC needs to be a lot more transparent and a lot more open as far as this very exercise is concerned. Now, the EC, following that, has also been suggesting that, well, is opening up a lot more of its processes to these many stakeholders to ensure that there's no issue as far as questions or challenges are concerned. But let me bring to you some more on this. Now, the Electoral Commission on Wednesday, as you do know, began the process to select the IT firm that will be responsible for electronically transmitting election results once voting ends this December. The shortlisted companies over the 3-day period, we do know that it started yesterday, is going to run till Friday. The 3-day period will have to demonstrates with the presentations to political parties and civil society groups how they intend to execute the transmission of the results on election day. But already questions are being raised by a section of stakeholders who participated in the exercise on Wednesday, suggesting the Electoral Commission is not being as open and transparent as expected. Now, let me pull up this post from one member of the opposition New Patriotic Party and the person of Gabi Asare-Ochiridako. This was a post he put up yesterday after he noticed what really transpired at the event. Let me just read it to you verbatim. It says, invited reps of political parties are the EC's e-transmission demonstration now. But it's like being in the public gallery of the Supreme Court. You are allowed to observe, but you cannot comment. You are not allowed to ask any direct questions to the vendors whose IT solutions the EC intends to use to transmit election results this year. Now, this was exactly what happened in 2011 when Afarijan invited tenderers for a similar demonstration on biometric voter registration. You may see evil, hear evil, but speak no evil. So that was the post by Gabi Asare-Ochiridako, who is a member of the New Patriotic Party, and he raised questions as far as this very process is concerned. And we were trying to get some more reactions from the relevant stakeholders. Well, we're able to speak to Martin Ejeme-Sakosa, who is the NPP's representative on that committee that has been put together by the Electoral Commission to participate in the e-transmission exercise over there. But I'm just now being told by my producer that Martin Ejeme-Sakosa tells us now that he's at the second day. He's at the program as we speak. Today is the second day of that very exercise, so he's currently there. So he's unable to really comment now. We'll try and bring in some other stakeholders who have also been sharing similar views on this very issue. And then we'll try and get some answers or some responses from the Electoral Commission because already we are told that the only Ghanaian entity that was part of this bidding process has already been disqualified from it. So now we do have three foreign companies bidding for the electronic transmission of results in this year's December elections. There's more on this in subsequent bulletins. Do stay with us here on your election headquarters, your Joy News channel. Now, it's barely 4 months to the general elections in the country. But even with the time so close, the two major political parties in the country, that's the NDC and the NPP, are yet to release their manifestos. Why? I'll be telling you that after this break. Stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us here on News Desk. Let's do some more stories now. And Deputy Interior Minister James Agalga. Wow, right. We'll rectify that very challenge we are having with the system here. And once we do that, we can bring you the story of security that has been put across by Deputy Minister for Interior James Agalga, who is saying that the security of citizenry remains the topmost priority of government as security agencies continue to work around the clock to ensure that potential terrorist threats from the West African sub-region is averted. James Agalga is confident Ghana is well positioned to fight terrorism ahead of the 2016 general elections.
Before the forum moved into full swing, Upper West Regional Minister Amin Suleimani painted a mental picture on the successes and challenges of the region.
On feeder roads, total road length is 3,152 kilometers. Out of this, the total length paved with bituminous surface is 56.65%. Sorry, 56.65 kilometers, representing 2%. Gravel surface is 2,418.5 kilometers, representing 77%. And the portion with F surface currently remains at 676.58 kilometers, representing 21%.
The major challenge, according to Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways, Isaac Ajay Mensah, is how to improve the roads in the region, especially during the rainy season, who sometimes cut out some communities from the region. Despite the challenge, he said the ministry is giving a facelift to some roads in the region.
Significant among them are the upgrading of Nadoli-Laura Hamile Road, which is for about 45 kilometers, which is lot 7. The upgrading of Nadoli-Laura Hamile Road, lot 8, which is kilometer 45 to 87. And the performance rate or the completion rate is 44%. The construction of Wahan Road, which is 30 kilometers, we have 55% performance there. Upgrading of Jirapa Dowena Road, which is 5 kilometers to 11.5, and we are in the region of 65% performance. The construction of Navrongo Tumu Road, we call it in the Sisala East, 32%.
Deputy Minister for Interior, James Agalga, also spoke about the issue of terrorism and assured the nation that the government was in control of the situation.
The threat of terrorism in Ghana is real, but we want to assure you as a government that steps and measures have been put in place to forestall the occurrence of terrorism in our country. Even if it occurs, we can assure you that the steps that have been put in place would minimize the impact of any such attack.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam.
Now, the Keta Municipal Chief Executive, Sylvester Tonyeva, has expressed concern about what he says is the collapse in business activities in the municipality as a result of the rising sea levels. Now, more than 2/3 of the lands in Keta have been swallowed up, destroying factories and other infrastructure. Joining us is Joseph Opokugakpo, visited the community for our latest hotline documentary, Climate Refugees. Now, here are excerpts of that.
Let me take you to the heart of the Keta township itself.
Keta by 1910, as you can see this map over here, it shows how Keta was before the sea destroyed. So this is the sea section, where the sea was. And then this is where the sea is now. This is where the sea is now. So the sea destroyed, these are the buildings you can see over here. So the sea destroyed all these houses up to this point, including the fort. You can see where the fort is. So half of the fort have been taken by the sea. So these are all houses surrounding. These are the remaining houses that you can see over here, where we are now. So 3/4 of the town is in the sea. And this half of the Keta we are seeing today.
More than 2/3 of the Keta township is now part of the sea, completely submerged over the last half-century. Municipal Chief Executive Sylvester Tonyeva is worried about destruction caused to homes and business activities.
Actually, what we see now as Keta is just a pale shadow of itself. We all know in the 50s, 40s, Keta even served as a capital of Volta region. It was a highly popular area, and there was a harbor in Keta where companies like GB Olivant, UAC, and others settled in Keta, and they were doing breeze business. Our parents even told us that Keta was so popular that people from Kumasi, the north, were doing business in that area. So what we came to see in Keta today is just a pale shadow of itself. Because the sea has actually caused havoc to the area, and we are yet to recover from that.
As Assembly member for the Keta Central Electoral Area, James Okulu explains several key infrastructure, including colonial relics, have been lost to the sea.
There was a lot of coconut plantations along the coast over here, and there was a lot of buildings over here. You have the building put up by the colonial masters, like the Kita London Park, the UAC, the Bartholomew, John Holt, Kita Zion, Kita EP, all have been submerged by the sea. All those buildings were submerged by the sea. So right now, the sea, as you can see, is near to the fort. But formerly, it was 5 miles to 6 miles away from the fort.
Keta is safer today following the construction of an 8.4-kilometer sea defense wall here, which cost government more than $80 million.
Let's now return to that very story I spoke to you about even before we went on that break. It has to do with political party manifestos. Now, it's barely 4 months to the general elections in the country. But even with the time so close, the two major political parties in the country, that's the NDC and the NPP, are yet to release their manifestos. Now, it's unclear the reason for the delay on the part of the ruling National Democratic Congress, that's the ruling government. But the opposition NPP says it is holding on to the release because it fears the ruling party, that's the NDC, will plagiarize the document. But there's been a raging debate as far as this very issue is concerned. Even earlier on the AM show, there was a lot of back and forth from the NPP's Samia Oko as well as the NDC's Koko Anyidoho. But the question however remains, how relevant are manifestos to the outcome of elections in the country? Derek Ekosam has been finding out, and here's his report.
Well, it's about 4 months to elections, and people are jeering for it. There are others who are itching to know what the political parties will offer them in their manifestos. The two major political parties in the country, the NPP and the NDC, are reluctant in releasing their manifestos because they think that whoever releases his first will be copied by the other. But what do people on the streets think about this? And do people even vote based on manifestos? Let's find out.
Especially during Kufour's regime, I read their manifesto and I decided to vote for them.
Why?
Because of the programs they had in it, and then it brought it to power too.
What are some of the things that were in that manifesto that made you vote for them?
Like national health insurance. Actually, for their first eight years, I feel they have more better agenda for the nation. So I've kept on voting for them.
Okay, but I want to know, this year, the NPP, both the NPP and the NDC, they are reluctant in releasing their manifestos. What do you think?
I think, to me, normally, NDC waits for these people to bring their manifesto before they also copy from them. So I think that's why NPP is delaying his own. Yeah, people may be angry, but to me, to me in particular, I feel NPP can hold on to their own.
No, manifestos. Because I think manifestos are just paper documents.
Why?
They don't work in Africa. Manifestos don't work much. We need planning, we see development plans and other things that can be implemented.
But these can be found in manifestos.
The manifestos are just propaganda tools to just appeal to the propaganda.
So how do you decide on who to vote for, since you don't read manifestos?
You see, who to vote for, I look at maybe general, performance, general economic performance and indicators, maybe food production, agriculture, and so if I get something to eat, school fees are easy, to be paid and other things. No, we see that. That's why I said that I don't believe in manifestos. So I don't look at whether you have released manifesto or not. I don't, because manifestos are paper documents, according to me.
When I was young, since 1969, I saw my first election. The government say, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do that. When it came to power, it couldn't do anything. Let's say 27 months, the government was overthrown. Since then, up to now, I will do this, I will do that. So I don't rely on manifestos a lot.
So you mean that going to these elections, you don't really think you'll vote based on somebody's manifesto?
No. Because they will promise I'll do that. They will not do.
Okay. We're just about 4 months to the elections. Both the major parties in Ghana, NPP and NDC, they are reluctant in releasing their manifestos. They think that whoever releases first will be copied by the other. What do you think? Are you disturbed?
Oh, I'm not disturbed.
Why?
I'm not disturbed. So, as I've told you, I don't rely on their manifestos. So, if someone copied this manifesto, it don't worries me.
Well, interesting views you've had as to whether or not people vote based on manifestos, and also the current fracas about the two major political parties not releasing their manifestos. For most of the people I've spoken to, well, they hardly vote on manifestos because, according to them, whichever party wins the election hardly follows the manifesto. My name is Derek. I call Sam.
So that was a report by Derek Korsam, and some pretty interesting comments we had there from a section of people on the streets of Accra we spoke to. There's been a lot of conversation around this. There'll be a lot more we'll be bringing to you in a short while, because in a bit we'll be speaking to Dr. Evan Sagredako, who is a senior lecturer with the Political Science Department of the University of Ghana, and indeed Dr. Edward Brenya, who happens also to be a political scientist, will be taking comments from both of these gentlemen as far as this very issue is concerned. But let's now switch our attention to the National Commission for Civic Education, which is advising students to desist from acts of political vandalism ahead of elections in December. Deputy Chairman of the Commission, Samuel Asare Kyoma, says they owe the nation an obligation to resist attempts by any politician to recruit them to foment trouble. Now, he was addressing the Ashanti Regional Representative Council at Bekwai. Love FM's Kwesi Debra has more.
The 19th Annual Congress of the Second Cycle Student Body was under the theme, the role of students in ensuring peaceful and credible national elections. Mr. Asare Kwamwa advised students to exercise their franchise in a responsible manner and make sure their votes count.
We are vulnerable because we have the energies. Most of us here at the high table do not have the energies that you have. And so they will come for you to go and do the dirty work. Please avoid being involved in any acts of thuggery. Don't go defacing people's posters. If you find any poster anywhere that you do not like, yours is to tolerate it. If you are a member of any political party and you are giving party posters to go and take them around, you must be mindful of where you post them. Okay? If you come to my door and you know very well that I do not belong to the party that you want to post at my door, and you post it there will be war. And this should not happen. So please, you can really help. You can play a very critical role in making these elections very peaceful.
You're watching News Desk here on your Joy News channel on Multi TV. Remember, this is your election headquarters. This is where you get to know the very latest as far as elections in the country for this very year is concerned. We'll be bringing you a lot more of such related content in subsequent bulletins. But